I would say about 9 o'clock, that's when things started to get sketchy.
All the ballots that we're processing up there had the date of November 4th with a sticky note on top of it saying process them as November 2nd.
Poll workers got pretty excited about a message that popped up on our screen. And this is at one of the counting boards. So this is where the electronic poll books are posted.
On her computer screen.
On her computer screen. And it says, warning, this system is being hacked.
They put me in a square with the rest of the media.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, but hey, I come to do my work. My work is look for the ballots. Oh, no, you have to stay there. But just for you know, the Democrats or the people that were there supporting Biden, they don't wear any credentials, nothing. There were a bunch of people there walking around the tables. But if you were supporting Donald Trump, you need to wear a credential which show your name, GOP, and then, but everybody else didn't wear that except us.
What they were supposed to do is take the problem ballot that got jammed, and they were supposed to discard the whole batch. Numerous times throughout the night, countless times, they were not discarding these batches. They were taking the ballot that would not go through due to a crease in the paper in the wrong place. And they would set it on top and they would just rescan the whole batch.
The two people who were attempting to, duplicate whatever ballot, they couldn't read. They didn't know how to read. They were illiterate. So they were looking at the paper, just not knowing what to do. And then, their supervisor or whatever came over and just, told them, you got to do this, do that, like every step of the way. Because they were illiterate, they couldn't read, and they were in charge of the ballot, process to supervise what was going to potentially decide a national election. So that seemed pretty scandalous to me.
And they would put them back in the whole stack. So now we have a batch of 50 again, and they would rescan them. Double counting. That would be double counting ballots. Okay. That would be double counting. But I've seen numerous times them keep doing this. And machines that would say that, I would walk by and the machines would have a number of ballots scanned, and the number should have never went over 50.
So what numbers were you seeing on these?
I was seeing around 400 to 500.
So you're telling me that we had batches of ballots that were being counted, goodness, 9, 10 times.
8 to 10 times.
Wow.
They were saying that in the poll book that these people were born in 1900. So we have a lot of 120-year-olds, which should factor well into a pure Michigan campaign because people live longer here than anywhere else in the world. We do have incidents of people saying that they came in person to vote, and then they found out that somebody had already voted for them.
And another point someone made yesterday, they chained those doors. That's a fire hazard. Because what if some kind of attack, what if something like chaotic broke out? Because it was an extremely contentious environment. And they should get sued for that.
We had people that were blocked from even getting into the facility by the police. That wouldn't be allowed into the facility. These were people that were going to be poll challengers for this. They refused to allow them access to it.
The ones that left to go get something to eat did not know they weren't going to be allowed back in. So half of our group left to go get something to eat and got stuck outside.
They literally covered up the walls so no one could see inside, and poll challengers were boxed out, allegedly, and stuff like that. I think that's when those ballots, and I even had heard murmurs that other ballots were brought in after the 3:30 a.m. dome. But once when those ballots were being processed, that's when the incredibly hostile operation where MDHHS and cops and poll workers were trying to disenfranchise the challengers.
To me, the way how they act, they were type of Antifa people. To me.
Yeah.
There was Antifa people, okay? To me.
They put cardboard over the windows so nobody could look in.
Did you ever see the windows being covered up?
Yes.
Were you there when that happened? So they were using these steel boxes to keep the Republican poll challengers away from seeing what you were seeing with the tabulation machines.
Yes. And they used them as a barricade.
Their job wasn't protect Biden votes. Their job was intimidate me, make me feel like crap, make me feel like they're gonna, anytime I do whatever, they're gonna beat me up or something.
And they cheered when they were kicked
Oh
out.
yes, it was also on the news, the Channel 7 News. Today they were cheering when people were taken out.
So did you see any Democrats get ejected?
No, not a single one.
Okay.
When somebody got thrown out, the entire room applauded.
The whole worker told you, knowing you were affiliated with the Republican Party, that Biden deserves to win. You just don't get it.
And you just don't get it.
As
Part of her apology. That came on as a part of her second part of the apology.
The most egregious was at the adjudication tables. Any of the adjudication tables said, I think that should go to the Democrat. I'm like, wait a minute, no. This is not right. I'm like, no, that cannot. I'm like, no. I said, the person voted for both. And she's like, and she's talking to the other lady, she's like, yeah, I don't know. And she's sitting there like, I don't know. So I go get her supervisor. And her supervisor goes, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, oh my God. I was just furious. So I went to go get her supervisor. Now check this out. This is the guy that's overseeing the entire 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. absentee counting process. So he's over everything for this shit. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I go get him, and he does the same blanking thing. I said, why give it to the Democrat over the Republican? Why not give the Republican the vote? And he just turned at me and started screaming at me. And he just goes, don't talk to her, don't talk to her, don't talk to her. I'm like, I'm talking to her first, and I got you. And I told him, I was like, you know what? I know you're tired. That's not my problem. You're not going to be nasty to me. And this is cheating. I'm like, no, this ballot should be thrown out. And I was like, I'm challenging the ballot. And so that's when I said, I'm challenging the ballot. He's like, you challenge, you can do whatever you got to do. Nobody's stopping you. And I was like, well, hold on. I got to get the information off the ballot. And he just started telling her to push it through. He's like, push it through, push it through. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. I'm challenging this ballot. I'm like, no, you can't do that. He's like, push it through, push it through. And I'm like, oh, get the information. He's like, push it through. And she just pushed the ballot.
There was a guy there that couldn't wear a mask. He had state of Michigan paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And they went over to him and said, put your mask on. He said, I have paperwork right here. They said, we really don't give a shit. Whoever their security was picked the guy up and literally took him to the door and threw him out.
Interesting how they all stopped at the same time. So by midnight, they probably all knew what their targets were in regards to how many votes they had to drudge up.
The next thing was suspicious were the 30,000 ballots that showed up at 3 o'clock.
People had just been showing up with boxes of ballots that they had, there was no chain of custody.
Where do these ballots come from? Who verifies the signature on these ballots? That was just suspicious. So these ballots show up, and so I don't know what step they went to after that, but that was suspicious. But
Did you see them arrive?
Yes, it is. It was a big roll-up door.
Big roll-up door.
Yeah, like a big roll-up door, and a truck came and delivered them.
Did you feel that they tended to lean one way or the other in terms of slate of candidates?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you like to tell us for which one?
Yeah, at Biden, I did not see not a one ballot for Trump, not one.
No Trump votes in all of these.
The whole time I was there, I did not see a
When were you there?
I was there for 24 hours.
On election day?
Yes.
I saw the boxes for myself being unloaded in the dead of night.
Then I was noticing that it was the same exact signature, like a graph. Up and down signature on every one of them. And then I leaned forward, like I took one step forward to see the date on the ballots. It said November 0 space, no digit there, comma 2020. Then I asked the supervisor, what is the date on that one? I don't see the second letter after 0. At which point he just moved the box away and he's like, we're doing our job, you're really disturbing us, kind of thing.
So you just got a vehicle coming in with bins full of votes.
Yep, 61.
Open top bins.
Yep.
61 boxes?
Yep, about 61. That's what we've got an affidavit on. 61 boxes.
About how many ballots would probably be in each box, roughly?
I think that works out if you put it into, you're going to test my math skills on this, but I think it's roughly around 600 ballots per bin.
Okay.
But there's absolutely no excuse for why all the ballots should have shown up at once, should have been dumped on us at once. in the dead of night, when we could have been doing our jobs and processing them, slowly throughout the night, when there wouldn't be a potentiality for fraud. So, and then the next day, from what I was told, it got even worse.
What did you believe was connected to the internet? So there was all the tabulation machines, both on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the stage, depending on what you're looking at it, had blue cabling coming out of the tabulation machines into routers. The left side had a router, and the right side had a router, and all blue cables were going into those two routers. And I kind of diagrammed it that night when I was there.
So like an internet router like you would use at home if you had Ethernet.
Yes, yeah. They, I don't know if it was a hub or a router. But it was definitely an electronic device that was on and receiving data in and out based upon the lights coming on and off. So you could see traffic.
Yeah.
So, and then those routers went into a computer stack on the stage that had another router hub device in it. Same behavior. And then from that router hub to a third router hub, there was a connectivity. And from that hub, we saw an Ethernet cable coming out of that into a socket in the wall, an Ethernet tab into the wall on one of the central columns just across from the stage. That particular Ethernet connection had a connection up to a Wi-Fi router or receiver or transmitter up closer to the ceiling. That was on, lights were coming on and off on that. So from my experience working in the technology area for many years, that signaled to me that there was some kind of in and out data happening in that location.
And I said, David, is this connected to the internet? And he goes, no. I go, well, I'm seeing indications that they are connected, and I'd like to be able to verify that. And he says, no, you got to trust me. I go, all right, you may have been told a lie that they're not connected. I would like you to go off and verify it, and all you got to do is move that little cursor over that symbol, and it'll say connected to internet or not. And he says, you're just gonna have to trust me. Well, David, if you're listening, I don't trust you, and the stakes are too high for this right now.
But I think all the absentee ballots in Detroit need to be thrown. I think they need to be recounted. I think so, and I think it was just shady.
I feel that this election was stolen. I think there was a lies. I think that Democrats prepared this, they were prepared to cheat this election. I feel that democracy in America is in danger.
It was the most crooked thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I would swear to oath on it. It was not right.
Why did they do this?
I'm sure it wasn't in the interest of a free and fair election.
Are you confident that the number up on that screen is actually being sent to wherever the actual count, the combined count of all the different tabulators is taking place?
No.
Do you have any faith in Detroit's count?
No, I think probably if we're going to be fair, I don't see how you probably have to throw the entire election out. There's been so much fraud, and redo it if you wanted to have some sort of outcome that you can trust. I don't think anyone can trust any outcome at this point with this rampant fraud. And this is an assault on not just our democracy, but on our constitutional republic itself.